Okay, so the first episode of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, the creativity one, was one of my favorites, and also I think one of the most significant slash interesting ones that they put out there. And the reason why I'm saying this is because creativity and the whole theme of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared 1 kind of reoccurred in Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared 6, which was the final episode. So I'll touch upon the final episode a little bit later, but now I'm just gonna focus on Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared 1. Okay, so the reason why I think it's one of the most interesting is because, in my opinion, Sketchbook wasn't fully controlled by the media. And the reason why I say this is because the puppets didn't fail to be creative. They were creative in their own rights. It was dark, it was creepy, it was horrifying, but that's how real creativity works. There's positive creativity, there's negative creativity, there's all different types of creativity, and all of it's beautiful. And all of it's valid. And the puppets were creative. And I think when Sketchbook was sent to teach them about creativity, the media tried to control what Sketchbook was saying. Media tried to control creativity, but what media didn't understand, or what they didn't depend upon, is that creativity is something you can't get a hold of so easily. Creativity, like, if you have creative people in the world, you're not going to be able to limit people to only one type of creativity. Being creative is also the fact that you can think outside of the box. So if the media is trying to say, okay, you can be creative but only in this certain box, creative people are going to go outside of that box, and that's the reason why the media didn't have a full control over Sketchbook, and they didn't have the full control over the lessons on creativity. And I think they only had a little bit. They tried to have some control, but what happened is that creativity got out of control. And once you teach, or not even teach, you can't teach someone to be creative, but once you learn how to be creative, once you acquire the skill of how to be creative, or if you just are creative, there's no stopping you. You're out of anybody's reach. It's limitless. Nobody can do anything about it. And I think that whole fact, or the whole opinion of mine, kind of sets the whole tone for the series. I think the rest of the lessons were fully controlled by the media, and the reason was that Roy saw how creativity impacted them, and how creativity allowed them a lot of free will, and allowed them a lot of free thinking, and just allowed them to go outside of the box. And I think Roy, or the media, sent them more teachers so that they could still stay in the box, so that they could try to terrify them into staying in that little box that Roy wanted to be in, or production, the little room. He just wanted to be in that room. He just wanted them to be in that production. And I think it's just so interesting how Joseph Pelling and Becky Sloan, the creators of the series, just kind of all laid this out, and it's just amazing. But anyway, that just set the whole tone. So for for the time episode, or the love episode, the fourth episode, which talked about technology, the food episode, they all were fully controlled by the media, if you think about it, because in time, there was no way that they could get out of the box. Even when they started questioning the clock, he just made it all stop right then and there. But, well, it ended in something horrifying, just like the first one, but in the first one, it wasn't controlled by the Sketchbook. It was controlled by the three puppets. Red guy, yellow guy, and duck guy. It was being controlled by them. It was being controlled by their creativity and what they were thinking, but in the time episode, it wasn't. It was out of their hands, because, as everybody knows, no one can control time like that, and everybody runs out of time, just like the episode says. So they all had their horrifying deaths, and everything just kind of fell apart, and who knows what happened, and it was awful. It terrified them into staying in the same box. And you see the later effects of this on the other episodes, like in the fourth episode, when Colin the computer says time, you can obviously see the duck guy that's very distressed about it. And you know why? It's because he never forgot. He never forgot the fact that Tony, the media, terrified him into believing a certain way about time. That's, and that's basically what happened. And same for in the sixth episode, where the yellow guy was like, "You made me die," to Tony, the clock, and it just shows them how terrified and traumatized they were about this experience. And same for all the other episodes, like with Love and Malcolm. They were just fully like, I don't know. They never like really took it in the way that they took in creativity. Like, creativity was something they were free to do. They weren't scared of it. Even though that kind of horrifying face at the end, I mean, I don't know. But really, who can tell? They're puppets, right? But in my opinion is that they never took creativity in the way they took time, or in the way in the way yellow guy took Love. Or because even the after effects of the Love episode was in number 5. The Can asked him if the yellow guy was hungry. He was like, no. And that's a reference to him being told that he was lonely, not hungry. And so that also shows how he was influenced, and maybe not through terror or anything, but he was influenced. He took it in the way he took time. That's how much of an effect it had on his soul, because the media fully controlled it. Same for technology. Everything just went crazy at the end, and it was out of their control. It just went like full crazy. And then the fifth one, that was even crazier. Robin died, and I think that's, or Duck Guy died, sorry. But I think the fifth one was interesting, to say the least. But I mean, I feel like it's all about how, obviously it's about how the media pushes different foods and different diets, but it's also showing how the more we trust the media, I'm guessing, is the more we're kind of pushing ourselves towards that, because we really don't know what we're eating. We don't know what's in our McDonald's meal. We don't know what they're selling us in those cans. We don't really know. Only the people who are behind the scenes know. And who's behind the scenes and Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared? Roy, the media. And they took in that lesson the same way they took in the other lessons besides number 1. So now let me talk about the 6th episode. And my general theory on the 6th episode is that Red Guy grew up, he was an adult, he was creative though, and nobody else liked that. And so he was offered a job by Roy to work in the media, and he accepted, and he was controlling everything on the media. But then he realized that he really didn't like it, because he realized that he was just doing the same thing. He was trying to control people just like how it was controlling him when he was a teen. And if you guys don't know that reference, it's based on a theory that Duck Guy represents the elderly, the Red Guy represents teens, and the Yellow Guy represents children, because those are the groups that are most easily targeted by the media. But so he realized this is the exact same thing that happened to him as a teen, so he decided to pull the plug. He pulled the plug on the media. And this goes into a whole nother thing, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. But he pulls the plug on the media, and then all of a sudden you see a new set, and what you notice is that they're all different colors. They're all their favorite colors from episode 1, okay? And what lesson are they learning? Creativity. And who's the teacher? The sketchbook. And the reason why I think that they started out that way was A, because first of all, Red Guy was the one who was starting the whole new era, I'm guessing, of media, and he was trying to make it better because he wanted to have more freedom and everything like that. And so he made them their favorite color, they had a door in the room, everything like that. But I think the reason why he chose the sketchbook to be the first person, or not first person, but the first teacher to appear, is because they took creativity in a good way. That was their only good lesson. From all the other lessons they learned creativity. And because it was something good, they wanted to put that into their own show. They wanted to put that in, and they wanted to make it better. They wanted to take something they learned, which was mildly horrifying, but they still didn't take it in a bad way because it wasn't under the full control of the media. So they took it, and they decided to make it better. As you can see with all the redesigning of the sketchbook to make it look more friendlier and all that kind of stuff. But what I'm trying to say is that the creativity lesson is something I think they held on to as good rather than bad. And that's the whole reason why I think that first episode, when they all came to life, is the reason why they were able to fight through the media and what Roy was doing, and then able to pull the plug on it and then do something good to it. And here's my other kind of theory, which is outside of the whole universe of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, is that my whole thing is that episodes 1 through kind of up until the point he pulled the plug in 6 represented TV. And the reason why I think it represented TV is because average people cannot control what goes on TV. Only the people behind the scenes can. Only the people who are big, who are up there, all the actors, all the producers. All those people can control what goes on TV, the advertisements, how you see things, how they portray things on the news. But when the calendar turned from 19 to 20, June 19 to 20, I think that showed how the episode, I think it showed how, not the episode, but how the series kind of switched over to the internet. Because on the internet, people like me, people with maybe little to no influence, can make theories like these. The power is within us. And that's kind of the whole point of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, I guess, is the fact that when it changed to June 20th, that signified when the power was with us, when the people of the internet was able, or not the people of the internet, but people in general was able to control what they saw, what they wanted to see, and how they wanted to portray things. And so that's my whole theory on Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. I hope it kind of makes sense. So anyway, see you guys later. Bye!